back to my channel. Yes, I took yesterday off, but today is Thursday, and so we're here with the Crooked Crash to say. But let's start with greetings. Come on. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'll be your host. Your
guy in the chair.
He said it. He said it.
And today, yes, it's Thursday, so we have the Critical Drinker with his thoughts on how Netflix is to buy Warner Brothers. So let's enjoy.
Declining theatre attendance, rising ticket prices, disappointing box office returns, shrinking theatrical windows, and now major studio buyouts by streaming giants. It's fair to say that 2025 has been a rough old year for Tinseltown, for movie theatres, for audiences, and the entire movie industry. But here's the thing, these aren't bugs anymore. They're features. Features of a changing entertainment landscape, a changing culture, and a changing perception of what films even mean to us now. The recent news that Netflix have officially won the bidding war to buy out Warner Brothers and their entire catalogue of IPs seems to have thrown the entire industry into a tailspin. Damn man, they've even petitioned the dreaded Orange Man to intervene and block the deal, as if the fucking White House has got any say over corporate mergers. The major fear in Hollywood is that Netflix will gradually move away from the theatrical model and transition movies almost entirely to streaming. And well, they probably should be afraid of that because I'm pretty sure that's the plan all along. But this isn't just the actions of a single streaming giant that wants to destroy movie theaters purely for shits and giggles. It's a simple reflection of the reality facing the movie industry now. A reality that's been knocking on the door of Hollywood with increasing volume and declining patience for years now and isn't going to be put off for much longer. It's time for some harsh truths, dear viewer, and the drinker is the one to administer them. The theatrical movie experience as we knew it is dying. It's not in a temporary slump. It's not just going through a bad spell right now. It doesn't need to hang in there until things pick up again, and you can't keep blaming it on fucking COVID.
It's all bullshit. All of it.
The fact is, it's not going to get better. What we're seeing now are the final stages of a process that started decades ago. To understand it, let us discuss the theatrical movie experience as we know it today, shall we? Now, imagine for a second that you're a typical American family man with a wife and 2 kids. You work a slightly unfulfilling corporate job that teenage you would probably be horrified by, but hey, it pays the bills, so whatever, I guess. And yeah, the sex is more of a predictable weekly ritual now than an exciting experience to look forward to, and you're harboring a growing suspicion that a divorce could be on the cards once the kids have flown the nest and there's nothing left to hold the two of you together, but let's not worry too much about that right now. For today at least, you want to take the family out to the movies. So you drive for 30 minutes in heavy traffic to get to your local theatre. You buy the tickets, which cost like $20 each, because of course the kids just have to see the film in IMAX. Then you have to buy overpriced drinks and snacks because nobody can just sit through a 2-hour movie without shoveling a constant stream of food and drink down their throats. Then you take your seats, which smell a bit weird and have a suspiciously sticky patch around the crotch area that hasn't been cleaned, but let's not worry too much about that. And oh dear, it seems like there's a bunch of teenagers sat right behind you. What are the odds, eh? I hope you like eavesdropping because you're going to be hearing them talk about every single detail of their lives throughout the entire movie. But hey, it's just part of the theatre experience, right? Oh yeah, and half the people around you already have their phones out, 1 or 2 are watching TikTok videos with the volume turned way up, and one guy's having a full-on argument with his girlfriend on speakerphone. But hey, it's just part of the experience, am I right? So you settle in as the lights go down, and you try to ignore the teenagers behind you and the people who are still filtering in and tripping over people because the lights are off now, because it's time for trailers.
Oh, come on!
Well, actually, it's time for the commercials first, usually for luxury cars you're never going to be able to afford. Then after 15 minutes or so, you're deemed worthy to watch the trailers. Then another 20 minutes after that, it's finally movie time. But oh no, now your 5-year-old daughter decides that she really needs to go to the bathroom because all that soda has to go somewhere, right? So you stumble your way to the end of the row, tripping over feet and pissing off everyone else around you in the process, and you take her outside so she can go for a piss, and eventually you make it back to your seat, and yeah, you've missed the first 10 minutes of the movie now, but hey, it's all part of the experience, right? So you finally settle down to watch the film, and you try to ignore the gossiping teenagers and the people on their phones, and the stomach-churning sound of food getting shoveled into faces, and the smell of sweaty, unwashed bodies, and just concentrate on the pure cinema experience. Wait, isn't this just a remake of an animated movie you saw when you were a kid?
Son of a bitch!
Anyway, about 3 hours and several bathroom breaks later, you finally make it home, tired, mildly pissed off, and about $100 out of pocket, and you find yourself asking the question, what the fuck was the point in any of that? So with all that in mind, is it any wonder that more and more people are just opting out of movie theaters altogether? Like, be honest with yourself for a second. Unless you're a genuine cinephile who needs to see everything on the biggest screen imaginable, is it really worth the time, the hassle, the expense, the irritation, and the discomfort just to see something that will probably be available on streaming in a few weeks anyway? Which brings me neatly along to my second point. The alternative. The appeal of the movie experience was always in the scale and spectacle, because until pretty recently, nothing in your home could ever hope to compete with it. Not anymore, however. These days, like $1,000 or less will get you a pretty serious home cinema setup. A setup that's ready to go whenever you want it, where you don't have to drive for half an hour just to get there, or shell out for overpriced snacks, or sit through endless trailers and commercials for the privilege of watching something that you've already paid for, or be forced to share the experience with a bunch of strangers who can spoil your enjoyment at any time they want, where you can pause the movie whenever you want and never miss a second of it, and most importantly, where the whole thing doesn't set you back more than $100 a pop. It's a trade-off for sure, a trade-off between spectacle on one side and comfort and convenience on the other, and the fact is, that trade-off's getting more and more appealing for the average person every single year. When you get right down to it, the harsh reality is that movie theaters are an outdated form of entertainment now, a holdover from the 20th century that's been propped up beyond its time by one simple philosophy: more. Gigantic budgets, more visual effects, bigger screens, louder sound systems. Studios and theaters have been locked into a cinematic arms race for decades now, pushing technology and spectacle as far as they could go until finally they hit an evolutionary dead end. It was always going to happen, it was just a question of when. And as it happens, the answer is now. So what does it all mean? Is this the end of Hollywood? The end of movies? The end of the world as we know it? No, of course not. There's always going to be a demand for entertainment. That'll never change. It's just the method of delivery that's evolving. People are going to watch more movies in the comfort of their own homes. It's inevitable. Theatrical windows are going to get shorter and probably vanish altogether eventually, so that movies will get released simultaneously onto streaming and theatrical. Movie theaters will still exist to some extent, but just like the old musical theaters from the 19th century, they'll become a much more niche experience, reserved for film buffs and occasional big event movies that people can't afford to miss. Box office revenues are going to keep declining until eventually they become obsolete metrics, and a film's real success will be determined by the number of hours watched on streaming, none of which will be independently verifiable, allowing studios to hide massive and embarrassing flops behind subscription walls. And as for the studios themselves, I'd expect more and more of them to be bought over by streaming and tech giants like Netflix, Apple, and Amazon in the years ahead. Businesses that make their real money elsewhere and can easily afford to pump billions of dollars into film and TV production, even if a lot of it never actually turns a profit. Do I like where all this is going? Not really, because despite all their flaws, I think there is still something kind of special about going into a movie theater and just losing yourself in a film for a couple of hours. But pretending this stuff isn't happening or that it can be magically reversed is like telling yourself that internet cafes or public payphones or video rental stores are going to make a comeback someday. They won't, because the moment technology made these things irrelevant, the culture quickly adapted to live without them. Movie theaters are dying out, and the Hollywood system that relied on them is dying along with them. Whether something better eventually comes to replace them is anyone's guess. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Hey guys, yeah, I hope you heard what he had to say. Yeah, Netflix wants to buy Warner Brothers. I still say leave Trump out of it. Even though the Trump administration wants to buy a CNN, that's always another Fox News out there. But hey, we're not getting political with it. I still think Paramount needs to buy them. We already know that guy. Again, let's not get political. But either way, I don't know what's gonna happen. Netflix wants it. Amazon may swoop in. But either way, I'm here for it. But hey, I hope you like it, so don't forget to like it. Then comment below, and then finally subscribe. Why do I always say it differently? I hope you had an awesome night. Rest of your day goes really well, and I'll see you Monday. Bye.